Hello.
Hi, how's it going?
Hi, how are you?
Good, 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 good. Nice to meet you, man.
Yeah, I'm very happy and I'm very thrilled to see you here.
Yeah, yeah, likewise. Yeah.
Great.
Thank you very much for the review the other day as well. It's nice to get to say so in person almost.
Not a problem at all. Not a problem at all.
Yeah,
As long as I get from the band itself a suggestion, then I always do it.
awesome. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll try to do my best. So for me, it's also a bit new because
Okay,
now I'm running Andy's Music Corner for my second year right now.
okay.
Has started, and I have done a couple of interviews, but not too many. So it might be a bit, yeah, it's a little
I'm
bit
sure it's going to
scary
be
about that.
good. And you're on Belgium, that's correct, eh?
Yes, I'm from Belgium.
Okay,
And you
beautiful
are
country.
from
Yeah. South Africa, yeah.
South Africa, yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
And where are you from in South Africa? If I may ask.
Durban, a very,
Oh,
very hot province.
oh
Very warm,
yeah,
yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
very humid. Yeah,
Okay, okay.
yeah.
I have heard about South Africa, and one of the things that is on my list, on my to-do list for when I ever go to there, is Cape Town.
Cape Town is beautiful. It's really stunning. That's a place that my wife and I like to go to
Yeah,
if you go for a nice holiday, it's beautiful there. You'll definitely
yeah,
enjoy it.
I
Yeah.
guess so. Yeah, indeed. I'll be in on African soil in 3 weeks from now, but in Egypt.
Oh wow. Okay, awesome,
Yeah.
awesome. Never been to Egypt, but yeah, I think you'll definitely have a good experience there.
I haven't
Yeah.
seen Egypt either so far, but it's something that's on my bucket list for a very long time. And now I've taken the chance to do it.
Excellent. Well, enjoy it when you go. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hmm.
It's nice to meet you, by the way. It's
Yeah.
I always have a little bit of stress for doing interviews, but yeah, it's always good to get to know new bands and new material, and I love doing that. That's why I started my blog. So yeah,
Absolutely. Well,
but
thank you because people like you give us a platform to share our music
indeed,
and also to meet interesting people as well. So that's also really cool. So yeah,
thank you.
I'm super grateful for it.
That's true.
Yeah.
But that's enough about me. Now we're gonna talk about you because
Awesome.
yeah, this is in the spotlight of you. Eh?
Thank you.
So I have prepared a question list, but you don't have to do that. Every question that I ask, you can say it's not valuable or something like that. It's
Okay, sure.
I've calculated them, and most of the time when I do interviews with bands through Zoom, it's
Yes. Yeah.
mostly gonna be an hour and a half, something like that. So yeah, that's
Okay.
hopefully um, going to be a good thing to do now. And then we have a good interview. And if you if you agree with it, I was thinking of because I see that you're recording it too, and
Yeah. Okay. I didn't even realize. Yeah.
yeah, but
Okay. Yeah.
I'm recording too. And if
Yeah.
you don't mind, I'd like to share the video in YouTube and then
Okay.
post it on my blog and then write a part of it along with the video, if that's okay for you.
Yeah. Wherever you want to share, that's perfect. 100%.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
So first off, I wanted to yeah, mostly my first question is introduce yourself as band or as musician. Um, I have introduced you on my blog earlier last week. So people are going to know who you are already. but just in
Awesome.
case you might be introducing yourself a bit, if you.
Okay. All right. So my name's Reina Turan. I'm the frontman, singer, and guitarist for Truth Decayed. Other band members not with me at the moment is the co-founder Warren Jones. He's also on guitar. We both play lead guitar. Um, then there's Johan Marie on bass. Also very much a founding member, and that he was there from the beginning. And we've gone through numerous drummers in our short time of a career already. But at the moment, we're together with Daniel Philogene, who's done very well, and he's recorded three songs with us on Faded Visions. That's going to be released in April. So yeah,
Okay. Okay. Nice. Sounds good.
yeah.
So, have you played many gigs already with the band?
It's been tricky because we did start out as a lockdown band. Essentially,
Oh, yeah,
it,
indeed.
it really, yeah. I'd been focusing more on my solo career before the lockdown hit. But then during that time of being bored and being stuck at home and so on, myself and Warren, we're old school friends and we've known each other for years. And we just sort of started sharing riffs back and forth. And that's how the initial idea for Truth Decade started. And we were just like, well, let's maybe make something of this. So we've had the opportunity to do, I think it's five proper live shows in front of audiences. So that was one show we did in our hometown of Durban last year, and we did overall four shows in a area called Gauteng or Gauteng and Pretoria. It's like two different parts, Johannesburg and Pretoria. We with one of them being in December last year, which was a headlining tour of three shows, and one previously in the year, which was just a festival that we're invited at. But in terms of online performances, we've done a lot more than that, and on international platforms, and having a wonderful opportunity of having opened up for some legendary metal bands like Venom, amongst many others. So
Yeah.
yeah, that was pretty incredible. So the online gigging went really well, and the live gigging eventually picked up last year, and this year we've already got quite a few good bookings lined up as well already. So things have opened up nicely.
Yeah. Sounds nice.
Yeah,
That's a lot of bookings. That's a good thing then.
yeah,
So
definitely.
how is the COVID pandemic running at this moment in South Africa, if I may ask?
At the moment, I think it's a lot better. A lot of people internationally didn't realize we had a very long running curfew, which was probably the most prominent part of our lockdown restrictions. Obviously, the harsher restrictions in the initial period,
Yeah.
especially in 2020. Um, but it's definitely in a much better place now. We pretty much almost completely open. Obviously, mask wearing is still mandatory. Um,
Yeah.
and there's all sorts of things like that going on. But generally, things are open. The curfew finally, I can't remember how long ago it was. It wasn't too long ago. Finally got completely lifted. So
Okay.
that's especially helped the music scene a lot because back then it was quite awkward finishing a show at like 8 or 9 o'clock at night. When you're normally only arriving at a venue. So
Yeah.
and especially for metal events and anything like that. So I'd say we're in a good place at the moment. Yeah, we've had a pretty good run of vaccinations and all that as well. And I think you could safely say we've got a pretty good handle of it. I'm not too familiar with the infection rates and everything at the moment, but I would assume that if they were quite harsh, then we'd go into heavier levels again and
Yeah.
heavier restrictions. So at the moment, it's looking good. Yeah,
Okay, that's very good. Yeah, back here in Belgium, we have also no curfew anymore.
excellent.
Also, the cafes and restaurants can continue opening up with no restrictions of hours.
That's excellent. Yeah,
The only restriction is because we had to wear our masks when we stood up and went to the toilet or went outside or
yeah, yeah.
generally walked through the cafe. We had to wear a mask from since Friday. That's also gone. We only
Okay.
still need to wear masks when we go to a store, to
Okay. Yeah.
a mall or
That's
something.
yeah. That's very much where we still are. Okay, we still have to wear the masks when entering a restaurant and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Uh, but yeah, a very, very close position we seem
yeah,
to be in.
indeed,
Yeah.
indeed.
Yeah.
That's good. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Good thing because I think after 2 years right now, I think
Mm.
many of the people are pretty tired of everything.
Yeah, yeah, life needs to go on eventually. Yeah, it's a tough position, I think, for everyone involved. But yeah, I'm certainly happy things are opening up again, especially for anyone within the arts industry or music industry or anything
Yeah,
like that.
it
It's been
has
quite
been.
devastating.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it has been very hard 2 years for the music and entertainment business. So
absolutely. Yeah,
I'm glad that they finally can open up again and get back to yeah
yeah,
the
no,
normal
yeah,
lives before COVID. Yeah,
yeah. Don't even know what normal is anymore. But I completely agree with you. Yeah, yeah,
indeed, indeed. Same here in Belgium.
yeah,
Now, now when you go to a store, wearing a mask is a formality. It's a normal thing to do. I can't
yeah,
even imagine the time before all this when there was no restrictions
yeah,
and no masks to wear, nothing like that. Uh,
yeah.
I can't imagine it anymore, actually.
Life is like a twilight zone. I
Yeah,
agree.
indeed,
Yeah.
indeed.
Yeah.
So another question I wanted to ask was, you obviously make your own music.
Yes, that's
Do
correct.
you also play covers every once in a while?
Um, Not with Truth Decayed. With my solo stuff, although that's also pretty much all original stuff as well. I might drop a cover here and there, but that's because it's not metal and it's suitable for some venues and people enjoy it. Um, I know within Truth Decayed, Warren, my co-founder and other guitarist, he's not a big fan of covers. um,
Yeah,
and I think just what we do works. I certainly have nothing against it. Some people have done fantastic covers, and there's definitely a place for it. But
yeah.
uh, not saying no for the future, but at this point, no, no covers for
No
us.
covers, no.
Yeah,
Yeah, everyone needs to make that up from their for themselves. Huh?
yeah, yeah.
You make your own
I
decisions in that.
I think also because we're not, we're not the youngest guys in this band. We're all in our mid to late 30s. So, I've gone through my days of playing covers in a lot of bands. When you're younger, you're a lot more eager to do it.
Yeah,
Um, so yeah, I think that bus is sort of passed that we focus. We're seasoned musicians as well, so we enjoy writing and performing our own music. So yeah,
absolutely, absolutely. Can you see me good? Because I'm sorry
yeah,
that
yeah.
I asked this because I see myself in the little picture above, but it's
Yeah.
very, very dark. I'm gonna try one thing, one moment, please.
Sure, no problem.
That's a bit better. Now it's not that dark anymore.
Yeah, I can see the better. Am I okay? I've got as much lighting as I can. Yeah, I usually battle with this a little bit, but
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, no problem, no problem. I
yeah.
had the sun through my window, and yeah, that
Oh, what is the time there? But you should be about an hour behind, I assume. Yeah,
now
it's just like 10 past 7.
now it's 6 p.m. back here in Belgium.
Yeah, yeah, it's normally about an hour, I think, before daylight savings. Or I'm still getting used to it, but
Yeah,
chatting
indeed.
to people overseas, I'm sort of getting used to the time
Yeah, yeah,
differences.
indeed,
Yeah,
indeed.
yeah,
Because in 3 weeks from now, I'm going to Egypt, and there it's also 1 hour ahead from here. So
yeah,
there it's
yeah,
now 7 p.m.
yeah.
And when
Egypt should
I,
be almost perfectly on our time zone. Yeah,
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 indeed, indeed.
yeah.
And when I come back, I need to remember that I have to go 1 hour back
Yeah.
because it's
At
good.
least it's not as bad as going to the States or like Australia or something like that. Yo,
No,
that's a big jump. Yeah.
because friend of mine is leaving next Saturday for 3 weeks, and he's going to Mexico. So
Oh goodness. Yeah.
yeah, that's
Yeah, that's a big jump.
very big, big
Yeah.
difference. Yeah, indeed, indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it interests me very much seeing the world and all the different places apart from Belgium and Europe, because
Yeah. Yeah.
in Europe it's all pretty much the same, and I've seen a lot of countries here in Europe, and I want to see other countries and other regions of the world too, like Africa,
Yeah.
its whole, um, South America is
Yeah.
also one of the things I want to see once, twice, maybe
Yeah.
more. But
I think traveling definitely has value. You
true,
get a culture shock. You get to learn
true.
different cultures, different people. Yeah. I mean, for me, I'd love to definitely see Europe. Um, I'm also very keen. I know the band's very keen to go to Greece because we've got quite a strong following there as well.
Greece must be
And
a
South
perfect.
America, yeah, yeah, and South America as well. For some reason, they've connected well with our music. Plus, I think it would just be
Oh yeah,
amazing food, definitely.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
yeah,
true. You need to get prepared for the food because what I've heard, the South Americans are very um, keen on using the ingredients, fresh ingredients, but also very spicy
yes.
ingredients too. That you need to yeah, you need to be
I,
prepared for that.
I'm very lucky being in Durban. We've got a very big Indian community,
Oh yeah,
and yeah, obviously they really enjoy their spicy food, and the Indian people in the Durban community also have very much their own way of making their curries and stuff like that, and they also quite often like it very hot, and I happen to like hot spicy food, so
yeah,
including Mexican food and stuff like that. So yeah, I think South America would definitely be a good trip. I know Warren's been to the guitarist of ours. He's been to India before, so he's gotten to experience that. Um, I
yeah.
like spicy food, but if you're not used to it, yeah, it's definitely a proper adjustment.
Indeed, back here
Yeah,
in Belgium, we use our fresh ingredients, but we mostly, how do you say that? We mostly cook with vegetables, fresh vegetables like celery and Brussels sprouts is also
okay,
one of the things. Um, oh, asperges is also
okay,
something we use that a lot, but not very spicy. Our kitchen is not sort of saying spicy,
yeah,
but more of a traditional kitchen. Like
yeah, yeah,
it comes back from our grandparents and their grandparents and the parents and grandparents before there. So it's a
yeah,
long tradition we hold up with our kitchen back
yeah,
here.
yeah. No, that's excellent though. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely love to experience that as well. Yeah,
true, true. It's
yeah,
also been said that, and you notice that when you come back here in Belgium, you notice that our generation and our parents' generation and the grandparents' generation, there's also a different um, time period in it. But how much that time period is, it's not compared to what we learn.
yeah, yeah,
And it's also always a rich history we take with us from our grandparents and parents. and we try to put it over on our kids too. It's one of our traditions, and yeah, I
Well,
don't.
it's important. It's definitely important because it is your background. It's where you come from.
Yeah, indeed,
And at least you know one day when you're no longer there, a part of you will
indeed.
continue living on through your descendants and so on. Yeah, it's amazing.
For example, it's been known for centuries that Belgium is famous for beer, chocolate,
Uh,
and yeah, we have the European Union back here in Brussels, but
mm,
that's not for too important.
no.
Brussels sprouts is also what we're famous for, and French fries.
Oh,
French
okay.
call it French fries, but
Yeah, yeah.
actually it's a Belgian origin. It has a
Well,
Belgian.
that
Yeah,
is very interesting.
yeah.
Well, I love fries. I love Belgian chocolate, and I love your beer. Your beer is amazing. The Belgian beer that I've had, I've really
We
enjoyed.
have many beers and many, um, how do you say that? Pastries, abbeys. We have many abbeys back here in
Okay.
Belgium, and every abbey they brew their own beer.
Oh, awesome. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, every
Yes.
brew, every beer we have here in Belgium, for example, we have a Tongerlo is specifically made in the Abbey of Tongerlo. We have Westmalle is specifically made in the Abbey of Westmalle. Uh, Everything we have from beer is originated from its yeah from its abbey where it's located, and that's what
Awesome.
makes it special, I guess.
Yeah, well, everyone's got their signature. Yeah,
Yeah, indeed,
that's amazing. Yeah, I love that.
and that's why I love Belgium. I
Yeah.
I have to say that I'm not too proud of being a Belgian for some reasons, but for those reasons, I am proud of being a Belgian.
Yeah, well, there's got to be some pride of some sort. It is still where you came from. It is still your history. I believe every group in the world has their
True,
rich past and their dark past, and it doesn't really matter what background you come from.
indeed,
Yeah, yeah,
indeed. Everything has its own origin, and origin, I think, is important, and it needs to stay alive. The origin needs to be continued to into our kids and grandkids, so that it must
absolutely.
not that it must stay alive.
Yeah,
It's something important.
yeah. I think people also don't realize how much you can learn from history. Like
True,
you just
true.
look at stuff going on in the world. It's always history repeating itself. If people just open your history
Yeah,
books occasionally, you could maybe fix some problems instead of just repeating the stupid things you've done
yeah,
before.
indeed. It's
Uh,
repeating again, because we had World War II, we had World War One, and
yeah,
then now with Russia versus Ukraine,
uh,
we all think a little bit about is this the beginning of World War Three? Maybe
I'm
World War
sure.
Three has already started with the COVID pandemic. We don't know that
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah. You never know. I know definitely. I could completely understand if Europe was very worried at the moment because this is probably
Yeah,
the closest you've been to that again since World War II, at least
indeed.
from my understanding and what I've witnessed. Yeah,
Where the World War II has started again, with
yeah,
Hitler invading
yeah.
Poland, and
Exactly. Yeah.
there's
And just like then, there was a lot going on to lead up to that, and just like this situation is, it's
true,
years in the making. Yeah,
true,
it's
indeed,
yeah, no, I definitely feel for everyone, especially those I care about in Europe at the moment. It's
true.
not a very nice position to be in. Yeah,
No, indeed, indeed. But yeah, we have proven through the centuries and through the ages that we've been a strong race as being a human. So eventually we will conquer it, but it's yeah. How do you say that? Our grandparents have gone through the World War II, and
Exactly. Yeah.
if you hear stories about that, then it's mind blowing because
Yeah.
we can't comprehend what happened then, and
Yeah.
now with this World War III on the verge of breaking down,
Yeah.
we might be being worried about what can happen because back in the 40s they didn't have the technology than what we have now.
Yeah. Exactly. It's very frightening times. Yeah.
Indeed.
No. Yeah.
Indeed.
No, but you're right with what you said. The human race and human beings are tenacious.
Yeah.
We've overcome a lot. We've also been idiots and stupid, and that's why we get into these positions. But as you do say, with you know, at least as far as the first two World War goes, we've overcome,
Yeah.
particularly in Europe, because it's been a central factor for Europe both times. So
True.
yeah, not pleasant at all. But
No,
hopefully it gets settled quicker and it doesn't escalate to that. So yeah,
but as I said before, we are a strong race, and I'm sure we will conquer it eventually, but it might take some time, I guess.
yeah,
We'll see about that. So another question into our interview because we're
yes, yeah. We're just chatting now.
um, another question I wanted to ask was, what influenced you to start playing the instruments you're playing right now?
Okay, so for me specifically, I suppose I can't really speak too much on everyone else. Um, I am a multi instrumentalist. I enjoy playing a lot of different instruments, um, but I'm primarily a guitarist. That's my forte. That's what I really enjoy. Um, I'm not too sure how I got into it. I think it was probably through Warren back in the day. I know Warren was playing before me, um, and we kind of always did everything together as youngsters. As I say, we were old friends, and yeah, he got into it and he got very good. And I probably always thought I'd end up being a drummer, and I do play drums, but as I say, guitar is my main instrument. So I think a big influence for me was probably Warren and the music we listened to. And Warren getting into guitar and myself, I suppose, is largely due to we enjoyed a lot of guitar driven bands. We enjoyed Iron Maiden, uh, Metallica, especially the older stuff at that time. Both big fans of Judas Priest and bands like that, and that's all very guitar driven, guitar centric music. So
True.
yeah, that definitely helped us in that regard. And as far as my vocals go, especially for what I do at Truth Decayed, big influence for me is probably Max Cavalera from Sepultura.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and I personally think it's hurt a little bit within those vocals. I'm not too sure. I've heard it once or twice before, but that's definitely someone I draw a lot of influence from. I love his vocal style, and it feels comfortable with my voice. Um, that being said, as well, also when I started teaching myself how to do that type of vocals, I was singing a lot along to a lot of Hatebreed stuff as well, which I quite enjoyed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's that, especially the like songs like Destroy Everything and stuff like that. It seemed to connect quite well. Um, excuse me. As far as uh, Johan goes, I know he's a big fan of like bands like Arch Enemy and stuff like that. Slightly more melodic death metal and so on. He's also, well, as all of us in the band are, but he's into a lot of genres outside of metal as well.
Yeah.
And when we started the band, he was quite new as well. I mean, he basically had to learn to play the bass to join the band. That was the deal. um, so I suppose you could say the question you're asking us, like what influenced us, I think he's still finding that at the moment himself. He's going down that road himself now. Um, and Dan Daniel Philogene, our drummer, he also is very much a multi instrumentalist like me. He's actually a very good bass player as well. but solid on the drums. I remember him back from projects back in the day. I'm not too sure what his influences are, but I know he's into like a lot of modern stuff going on. So he likes to keep track of what the new guys that are like breaking barriers and stuff. He follows a lot of that type of stuff, and I know that kind of stuff really um, inspires them and pushes them to be better. And
All
yeah,
right.
so yeah,
Yeah, nice. Great.
thank you.
Uh, it's good to have many influences in one band because you are a band and
Mm,
not everyone can be the same.
exactly.
All were the
I agree.
same, and this world would be a very dark place.
Yeah, I agree. And very boring. Definitely
Very
very boring.
boring, indeed,
Yeah.
indeed. So that's good. That's good. I love when bands are trying out new things or go above and beyond to continue growing and continue um, evolving themselves as the music evolves too, because you can't play the same music
Yeah.
as you played 10 years ago because it's different. It's
Yeah,
different
it changes. Yeah.
indeed.
Techniques and instruments change.
Mm.
It's funny that you mentioned it as well, because like, when you start a band, you need a genre that that people can identify with you. And our early stuff was thrash, and we like thrash music. And so we were a thrash band, but I know already with some of the reviews, including yourself, that's come out, and especially the latest one that came out just today. Positive review, thank goodness again as well. Very happy about that. But and even before that was some of the international festivals we did. People like, yeah, we thrash, but we like thrash death, or and I think that's with all the influences, and even getting someone like Dan now as a newer member, that's bringing even new elements, and so
Yeah,
we're really just a metal band with a thrash foundation, but
yeah,
we can't sound like Metallica in the 80s, and we can't sound like Slayer, as great as both those bands are and were, so you're absolutely right. Things have to change. Your own style, your own flavor has to come into it. So,
true.
the 80s thrash metal was what it is. We are what we are now. But you
Love it.
definitely draw influences from everything. And I think that makes music very interesting. If you look at what a lot of the death metal bands are doing now, like another band, South African band, Volvadinia. I mean, what the hell would you call them even? I mean, essentially they're a brutal death metal band, but they were in Revolver magazine not too long ago as one of the top 10 deathcore bands in the world.
Oh yeah,
It's
I
like,
mean,
um, yeah, it's crazy.
and
So, but it makes music more interesting. I agree with you, in my opinion, completely.
true, true. I have one band that I listened to back in the days that I still cannot um, contempt into one genre.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have heard about them. A Dillinger Escape Plan.
Yes, I have. I have. Very interesting band.
Very interesting
Yeah.
because what genre do they play? It's like crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Seen them live and at Pukkelpop, Pukkelpop back
Okay.
here in Belgium. We've seen them live back then, and I've heard their CDs before, and I was thinking, wow, this band is crazy. What are they doing
Absolutely. Yeah.
live? And
Yeah.
live, it's not as it is on CD
Mm.
because it's too much. They do something unique with their music,
Mm.
but you can't perform that live on stage because it's too technical and too yeah, how do you say that? They put in too much in one piece of music that
Yeah.
it needs to
Could
be
also be could also be overproduced, maybe. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
I get where you're going with that.
it
Yeah.
needs to be perfect at that same moment. And if I
Yeah.
play one note different than the other guitarist plays,
Yeah.
then the whole song is ruined.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
It's a fun line. I think. that is something that comes out with a lot of modern bands, and a lot of them actually do it really well. So like it's a two-sided thing. So a lot of bands can really they battle to marry the modern technology and the sound and everything. But then there are other bands that do it really well, and I can't speak for all their shows, and I haven't seen them live in person. But band that I've gotten into is Lorna Shore. They're quite popular now, obviously, and um, from the shows that I've seen, from the live footage I've seen, I've never seen them in person, but they've got a lot of background synth and all sorts of stuff going on. And they really, in my opinion, pull it off very well and put on a rock solid show. Um, but I do know that there would be a lot of other bands that would really struggle with that, attempting the same thing. So perhaps it just comes to what works for you. Perhaps it comes to more rehearsal time or preparation. I don't know,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's definitely as you said, music's changed. That's definitely one of the biggest changes. What you can do on stage, but can you actually do it? That's the
Yeah,
thing.
that's true. That's true. There's a difference between recording and playing live because
Absolutely.
when you're recording, in my opinion, then when you're recording, you can make a mistake and rewrite it, redo it.
Mm.
Live, you can make a mistake, but everyone has heard it.
Yeah, and if you've got a delay effect, and that mistake goes over and over and
Ah,
over. Yeah,
indeed,
yeah,
indeed.
yeah. No, I hear what you're saying, and it is two different disciplines very much, and it also like just like it's very difficult to perform what you record live. It's also very difficult when you're recording because you can't just simply record what you're playing live because this is a debate and conversations that you have with other musicians and stuff all the time, and even producers quite often is when you're trying to capture that sound on a recording and release it, you've also got to get it to sound as big as live. And if I'm standing in a club full of people and I got the music banging against me and I'm feeling it bounce off all different sides and stuff, that's an experience that I'm having, and a recording can never bring that out. So that's where you got to elevate that sound and get it very big. So it's for me, it's very much just finding the balance, and it's a difficult balance to find, and it's one of the most difficult things with recording, and especially in modern times because the standard is so high, but you also can't overdo it, as you say, and not be able to reproduce it live. It's very,
No,
very tricky.
indeed, that is true. That is
Yeah.
true. Now, for the moment, one of the things that I like best at this moment, my favorite, one of the favorites, is the new album from Architects. You know Architects? Metal band?
Yes, technical, very progressive band, correct?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
They have produced a new album last year, and
Okay.
just before Christmas time, they have recorded the entire album over in um, wat vertellen, at Abbey Road in
Oh, yes, Everett Serious. Oh, that's amazing.
live at Abbey
Yeah.
Road, and they played that live, entirely live. The
Goodness.
whole set was on YouTube, watchable, and they play that so accurately. It's like, yeah, I don't know. It's crazy what they do.
Yeah.
It's not the most difficult music to play, but
Mm.
the way they bring it is like they use instruments because they work with Middle Farm Studios in back in London, and
Yeah, I know.
they have an entire choir that's
Mm.
standing behind them, 40 people or 50 people, I guess. They
Goodness.
use instruments that I haven't seen in my life before, and I was
Oh,
like,
that's awesome.
wow, that's
I was
bringing
actually,
metal to a whole new level.
yeah, I was checking out. I love watching like high quality live performances that are recorded nicely and
True,
stuff as well. But
true.
yeah, performing live like that's discipline, eh? Discipline with your rehearsals and technique, eh? Yeah, it's
Indeed,
amazing.
indeed.
Yeah.
So, which artists are your favorites, and have they influenced you in doing what you do right now?
Oh goodness. Okay. I'll answer for the other guys first, then I'll answer for myself because obviously I got two different worlds of my solo music and my Truth Decayed. Um, but for Warren, I can definitely say strong influences. I hope I get them right. Obviously, like older, stronger influences: Judas Priest, Metallica, Slayer. Warren really loves Slayer, like especially when it comes to writing riffs. Some stuff are like is directly influenced from Slayer, from Rain and Blood era, and that. Him and I both enjoyed the Repentless album as well. That was also just, in our opinion, so well produced and such a strong album. Uh, Warren obviously enjoys Iron Maiden and stuff like that. And on the more like virtuosic side of guitar playing, I know he's a big fan of Joe Satriani and stuff like that. For nice guitar techniques. And Warren's also very good with vibrato and legato, so I can definitely see him having drawn a lot of that influence. As I said earlier, Johan really enjoys, in terms of metal bands like Arch Enemy, I think he's into Amon Amarth and stuff like that, but he really enjoys a lot of the melodic stuff. And I know he's also a big fan of the symphonic side, stuff like uh, Nightwish, obviously, and I think Within Temptation and stuff like that. I could be wrong, but I know he's very much into that genre. Dan, yet again, not entirely sure, but I know he likes the heavy stuff, especially if I think about some of the bands he played in before. He likes stuff that's really slamming and brutal and heavy. um, and you can see it in his drumming as well. He's a rock solid drummer, and he definitely brought a lot of that into the Faded Visions album. Um, and as for myself, yeah, in terms of metal, very much like Warren, I'm a big fan of Slayer, Sepultura for vocals. Um, also like a lot of interesting stuff that's out there. I'm hitting a blank on names though now, but as I say, I've really been enjoying a lot of Lorna Shaw and that type of stuff, and I think that's where that part of my influence has gotten Truth Decayed a little bit heavier than our last EP and older work. Um, but I also enjoy a lot of ambient and instrumental music. My solo stuff is instrumental quite often, just myself and the acoustic guitar. So I like a lot of dreamy, trippy stuff like that. Like
Yeah.
not like stoner rock, but just something that's very, very, very dreamy and very spacey. So
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
Nice. Yeah. The artists that I listen to are also an influence to me, obviously, because um, it all started with me with yeah, bands like Thrice,
Okay.
and that's more the softer rock,
Yeah.
more, and then bands like Comeback Kid and Parkway Drive have driven me into
Uh,
this genre of music, actually. So yeah.
awesome. Yeah, Parkway Drive, good band, good band. I know a couple of my peers here in the Durban scene and stuff. I know some of them are very big Parkway Drive fans as well.
Oh
And
yeah.
I enjoy the music. Great band. Yeah, rock solid.
They did have gone through a very big uh, musical switch. You can hear that when you listen to, for example, you listen to Horizons, the album,
Okay.
and you listen to the new album. That's a very, very big difference between them in terms of
Okay.
genre, in terms of how the music is played. It's a big difference, but that's good. I think bands need to do what they love to do and not play just music because their fans or their their producers want them to do that.
Yeah.
And it's very
Yeah.
important, I think. Yeah.
No, I agree with that. It makes me think of Opeth, like starting out as a full-on straight death metal band, and they made a pretty big switch as well. But if you listen to some of the more modern stuff and the latter, I dare say 70s like progressive type music or whatever, I really enjoy it. I think it's quite interesting and just
Yeah.
brings such a whole different element. Yeah, music is music. You got to do what you love. I've got nothing against a band like Maiden that releases the same album every album because it works for them and it sounds great.
True.
Although that being said, Senjutsu is something different, and I actually really enjoyed it. Uh, but there's nothing wrong with that, and there's also nothing wrong with breaking boundaries and stuff because I think a lot
True.
of Opeth's newer stuff is amazing, and had they not taken that plunge, it would have just been old Opeth over and over again. So
Yeah,
yeah,
indeed. Bands need to do that. I think they need to every once in a while say what we're playing. Is it okay? Is it still something that I want to play? And maybe we need to make a switch. If the
yeah, I
time is
agree,
there, I think you need to do that. Yeah.
100%. Yeah, no, I agree with you completely there. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, you even look at someone like Slipknot, the sort of journey that they took. It's
True.
and
True indeed.
they were groundbreaking with the first album. Volume three took it up in like yeah, actually even Iowa already did that, and like it's just been this wild ride, you know. And
Yeah,
whether you're a fan or not, you can't deny that they've taken chances and definitely hit a couple of good successes along the way as well. So yeah,
that's
yeah,
true.
for sure.
That's true. Bands need to do that. I think,
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
as I said before, bands need to do what they love to do and not play just the music that they were asked to play. That's not, then you're not a band, then you're just a puppet on a string.
Yeah, yeah, I got you. I agree. Yeah.
So, how have you met each other with your band? How have
Okay,
the
so
band
Warren,
come together?
yeah, so as I said, Warren and I were old school friends. So
Yeah.
we literally knew each other probably from grade one. I think it was grade one.
Yeah.
So as far back as yeah,
Nice.
it's a long time. We're both 38 now, so that's a long history.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so Warren and I have a lot of history, and we've also jammed in one or two bands before Truth Decayed. And yeah, we pretty much there's not much we don't know about each other. There's a long, rich history there. Um, Myself and Johan, our friendship started through Truth Decayed, but he's become a very good friend and a very close friend. Um, Warren and him have known each other for longer. Though I know Johan was good friends with Warren's sister back in the day, and so they also have quite a long history. Uh, as a musician, as I said, Johan's quite new, but you know that was 2 years ago. So he's really actually established himself now quite well, and he's also becoming a pretty good producer as well on that side of things. So he's taken an interest into that. So he's developed really well actually. Um, so yeah, Johan and I's friendship is within Drew Decade. Warren and him have known each other a bit longer. And then as far as Dan on the drums goes, I'd probably say him and I have the longest relationship because Dan's also been involved in bands for as long as we have, and we were both in the punk rock scene actually a while back. So we were already connected at shows with that. Um, and I don't want to lie about how long ago it was, but my solo album was officially or unofficially released late 2019 and officially released in 2020. But the 2 years or so before that, he was the producer that did that album for me as well. That's recorded it and mixed and mastered it. So at that time, we definitely developed a good friendship again. Since the band days and since not having seen each other for years.
Yeah.
Um, so that's where our connection started again. And then obviously when we were looking for a drummer, having gone through numerous ones, he was a logical option because he's very, very good and very easy to get along with. And he's got good ideas. He's got good vision. So, you know, that's qualities that you want from someone in a band. So, yeah,
True. True. That
yeah,
is true. You need to understand each other, and friendship helps to understand each other.
absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Indeed.
Friendship's good, but as I say, ideas and vision is also good because
True.
you know, look, I suppose it also depends what you want from the band and what goals you have. But if you have vision and forward thinking, then it just makes planning things a lot easier beyond writing songs and writing music. Uh, it helps create opportunities like me sitting talking to you in a different country now, and
Yeah,
uh,
indeed.
gigs, relationships, that sort of thing. It all helps, you know. So that
True.
music is beyond the music nowadays, or it always has been, but I mean, it's on a whole different level now. So
Yes.
yeah,
You can't imagine going on tour with a band on a world tour, for example, and being months away from home and
yeah,
being in a tour bus with four other guys and you can't stand each other. Yeah, that's not
yeah,
possible, huh?
yeah, yeah. Sometimes it's if there's an issue like that in a band, when you're younger, it's a lot more difficult. But as you get older, you realize sometimes it's more worthwhile just to pull that band-aid off and just,
Yeah,
you know, because as you say, once you're stuck in a tour bus, once you're stuck in a different country, there's no getting away from that, and you'll be under contractual obligation and all that, so you can't just stop it. So
indeed,
yeah, now
indeed.
I definitely think we got a good mix at the moment. Myself, Warren, and Johan have gotten on pretty well and pretty steadily. And as I say, Dan's just been a good fit so far, and yeah, just hope it keeps riding out like that. Hope we can all
True,
keep our composure and just
true.
embrace the good times and the bad times. Yeah.
Yeah, indeed.
Mm.
Indeed. Can I ask you another question? Because I just realized it very quickly. So
Mm.
you're from South Africa and
Yes.
you live in Durban. I don't know where the band itself was from, but do you know a punk rock band called Fuck Off Policecar?
Do okay. So we're from Durban, and we were formed in Durban.
Yeah,
Um, I don't want to make myself like an idiot now, but Foko Felicika, yeah. So they're Afrikaans punk band. So I'm actually Afrikaans myself. That's
yeah,
my home
yeah.
language. Um, yeah, and they, at least their first few albums were punk rock. They've also, as we discussed, developed as a band over the years. They're still quite active. They're all on numerous different projects, but they do get together for quite a few gigs. I think they did just perform recently, if I'm not mistaken. I don't want to embarrass myself and get the area wrong, but I think they are all from the Western Cape. So Cape Town that you mentioned earlier, that's in the Western Cape, and they're all from the Western Cape area. I'm not
Okay.
going to say the area because I don't want to make myself like a moron,
Oh, no
but
problem. No problem.
but yeah, they're from that side of the world, and yeah, talk about groundbreaking bands. They definitely
True. I
rough.
have seen
Yeah,
them.
they.
I have seen them live once back here in Belgium.
And what did you think?
I was immediately sold because
Yeah,
the music that they were playing and they did it in your foreign country in your foreign
yeah,
language, which is not a big difference with our foreign language
yeah,
because we
exactly. So,
speak South African and we
uh,
speak Flemish.
so
So
I was gonna ask you if you could pick up a bit of it. So, to my knowledge, having grown up, so okay. Firstly, in terms of South Africa, we have 11 official languages.
oh yeah,
Uh,
11.
at 11. So Afrikaans being my home language, that's just one of the 11.
Okay.
Because as you know, white people in South Africa and Afrikaans white people especially, we are a very small minority actually,
Yeah.
uh, which forms part of a very vast country full of different cultures, different languages, different races. As I said, we've got a very big Indian community in Durban as well. But yeah, we have 11 official languages in South Africa, of which Afrikaans is just one. Um, and yes, as far as I know, we do have very strong Flemish roots in our language. This is from stuff that I've learned from family and stuff. I believe there's even a bit of French, but that's probably also from the Flemish side. I'm not too sure.
Yeah.
And obviously Dutch, you know,
Yeah.
from the Netherlands. I know
Yeah.
Foko Politica also, as far as I know, they tour that part of the world as well because it's European countries that can connect with the language to some degree. So
True.
yeah, I'm glad you had that experience. That's amazing. Yeah.
So when I say something in Flemish in my foreign language, do you think
Yes.
you can understand?
Well, drop a sentence. I quite often I'm pretty good with German, and As I say, Dutch. Dutch is the Netherlands language, right? Yeah, I pick up with that. So yeah, drop something. Let's see if I can pick it up.
Okay, I'm gonna introduce myself in Dutch.
Okay.
Mijn naam is Andy Meus en ik woon in België.
Mijn naam is Reina Teron and I woon in South Africa. Very close.
Voilà, voilà.
I understood exactly what you said
And each other.
there.
Yes, nice, nice.
Yeah, I
Is-
know my dad's always told me Flemish is probably the closest, and I'd always think Dutch and stuff, but that was pretty damn close. Yeah,
because we back here in the Flanders region of Belgium, we have back in Belgium we have three main languages. We have Flemish, we have uh, German, and we have French. Those are the
okay.
main languages from Belgium. But because, and that's what I think is unique for being such a small country, we have many dialects in let's
Yeah,
for example
yeah,
say we have a village called Herselt
yeah,
that is situated in about 15 kilometers, 15 to 20 kilometers from
yeah, yeah,
another small village, Lichtaert. And the um, the dialects that we used in Herselt,
yeah.
a big difference in terms of the dialects that are used in Lichtaert. And that's
That's
only
strange,
20
eh?
kilometers, 20 kilometers
Yeah.
in
No,
between. So, yeah.
it's insane that it works like that. I know the biggest difference I can pick up in South Africa. I know with family, especially on my wife's side, in the Western Cape again, as you spoke about, but not in Cape Town itself. It's trying to think of what area it was now. It's one of the smaller towns. Gosh, I can't think of it now. I'm blanking out. But anyway, it's where a lot of the local fishermen and so on live. And their dialect is completely different. Even the way they pronounce a lot of the words, they roll a lot stronger on the R's.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's amazing how you have those differences. It's also funny that you mentioned in your parts and stuff the strong German, French, and
Dutch.
Flemish foundation, and like I could never really get the French connection with Afrikaans. Like I've heard about Flemish and obviously Dutch. Dutch is what I always thought was the very strong one.
Mhm.
And but my surname is everyone pronounces it Teron, but it's actually Teron,
Toron.
which is French.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
you
Toron.
know, so
Yeah.
somewhere along the lines that's come in there, and I've always heard of like the French connection with Afrikaans, even though drastically different languages, as opposed to Flemish, which is incredibly
Yeah.
close. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's funny if you actually see how all human beings are so connected. It's crazy, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Even though we're far away from each other, we still
yeah, exactly.
have a bond, a connection, and that's why I think, as I said before earlier, with the war going on between Russia and Ukraine,
Yeah,
um, that it for me it is important, and I quote this from I don't know if you know the Harry Potter movies.
yes, yes, yeah.
Well,
I do,
there's
yeah,
a quote that said, and I think it's a very powerful quote that at one moment, I think it's Sirius Black that it says it. He
hmm,
says, "There's a war coming up. Soon we have to choose between what is right and what is easy."
yeah,
That is a
yeah,
powerful thing. That's something that makes me think about that a lot because
mm,
it is true. There is a truth behind this one. The
yeah.
choice between easy and right.
Yeah,
It's a very close link between the two. So yeah,
yeah. I think that is the human struggle through time. Eh? It's
true.
in many ways,
True.
and that's a very simplified expression of it, but for a very complex existence,
It's very
if you want
complex.
to
It is
take it there.
very,
Yeah.
very complex indeed.
Yeah.
Because
And
I
yeah,
don't think that that little kids younger than 12, 11 years, that they even can really comprehend the sentence and the backstory behind that sentence, because
yeah,
it is a deep
yeah,
sentence and a deep backstory
yeah.
behind that sentence. Yeah.
Very, very, very profound. Yeah. No, it's true though. It's yeah.
We are extraordinary human beings. We are an extraordinary race, to say it like that. Uh,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
We are so
sometimes
complex and
I sometimes wonder, are we
yeah,
alone in the universe? And then I think there are two possibilities, in my opinion.
yeah,
We might be alone, or
yeah,
we might be not alone. And if we're not alone, then there's still um, two possibilities. If we are not alone,
yeah,
then they might be um, smarter than us,
yeah,
or they might be dumber than us.
yeah.
And with dumb,
Uh,
I don't possibly mean like dumb people. Just
no, yeah, yeah.
they can be something
Less evolved or yeah,
less
yeah,
evolved.
yeah, yeah.
Indeed, indeed, less evolved. So and
Well, while we're on the topic of philosophy, then, uh,
yeah, I like the
it's
philosopher.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's if you really think about it, everything about humanity and human beings is complex because we always say the stupid things we do is through stupidity and ignorance, but normally it's through power and dominance and advancements that we do the stupid things we do, and through knowledge and
yeah,
through power, as I said, um, and even just our very existence. If you look at some of the images from space, and there's one in particular that's done the rounds a lot, and it's really you just see this little ball surrounded by all this darkness, all this just
yeah.
dark matter and big empty space. It really shows how absolutely insignificant we are. But
Or yeah, indeed.
at the same time, our existence and our feelings and our thoughts and things like love and passion and all that is so significant.
Yeah,
So
indeed.
it's like
The
such big
connection,
clashes and such big yeah,
the connection
uh,
we have is so yeah,
yeah. So yeah,
incomprehensible.
human beings are complex in so many different ways that we can be so equally insignificant, but our existence, at least within our perception and within our minds, is so significant that we would be prepared to kill,
Yeah,
fight, love, care, develop.
yeah.
Yeah, it's yeah,
Things we can accomplish are for us might be so small, but through the
yeah,
eyes of other people, it's something unique. Like for example, me
absolutely.
with my writing, many of my friends, they admire me for that, because they say, how can you do that? How can you just have an idea and start working from it, and it turns out into a story? And for me,
100%. Yeah,
that's just a normal thing to do. But
yeah,
other people don't uh, have that ability, and
yeah,
they say that a lot. And I say, I can do that. You can do other things that I can do.
yeah. It's
Everyone has
it's
their
it's absolutely amazing though, because like even for me, music and art and drawing and painting, those are things that I'm good at, and people always so amazing like how you do that. But then something else that's within the arts like dancing, I've
yeah.
got no idea.
I can
I'm
dance.
completely yeah, I'm completely disconnected with that. It's like how do these people like where do the thoughts even come from? But I
Indeed,
suppose that's what makes us so special and so unique. We're also different in
indeed,
so many ways. Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah,
That's true. We are a very unique race.
absolutely. Yeah.
Um, Another question I had was, where did you get the inspiration for writing your songs?
I think early on, especially with the Modern Day Illusion EP, which was two songs being Modern Day Illusion and Opposing Direction, just the state of the world at the time. We were all locked in our houses. We were all frustrated. Some of us were scared. Some of us were um, perhaps nervous or frustrated. You know, I think as I said earlier, it was a very trying time. And aside from just that part of what's going on with the world, like the world's been a pretty shitty and scary place before that, even. And even now, while we're coming out of it, we're back in that sort of place again with the current situation. So I think it was just in that period, especially, just a commentary on the world. We've never wanted to write our music in a way of telling people what to think or how to think, but more just a commentary on the state of world affairs or people or things like that. So the earlier songs are definitely along that route. I wouldn't call them political because, as I say, it wasn't a direct stance. I mean, obviously, something that's evil or oppressive or whatever, then the stance would be pretty strong against that. But it was also, particularly the lyrics for Modern Day Illusion and stuff. It's very much um, a reflection and a commentary on just the contradictions and the hypocrisy of the world and everything that people are more willing to speak, engage, and all that before they actually understand the context they're discussing or the consequence of what they're discussing or the depth of it. You know, people listen more, things could be a little bit more productive, perhaps. But that being said, about Modern Day Illusion and the earlier music we wrote, Faded Vision still obviously takes that route in many ways. But if you look at the first single from Faded Visions that's already been released, PTSD, which is directly written about the mental health condition of PTSD and the absolute horror and trauma and suffering that comes with that for victims of the condition.
Yeah,
Um, and even Faded Visions, the lyrical content behind that song as well. Faded Visions, the album seems to take a stronger look at the psychology behind human beings and yet again the same world affairs that I mentioned and beyond that. Uh, and ironically, two of the other songs are "The World I Know" and "Absolute War," which are those are more political songs. But Absolute War more just describes the horrors of war and pretty much how normal everyday people fight the wars for the elites and for um, for the powers that be in the world. And you know it's innocent people, normal people, brave soldiers that kill each other, but the ones that start and drive wars very, very rarely perish or
true.
face any consequence of any sort. Um, and the world I know also very similar, but also that's more a general commentary on the world and and all the really shitty things that happen in this world. Um, what am I leaving out? And then Witches Watch. That's something different. That's something very different for us. It's a song that Warren essentially writes. Although we both wrote our lead parts and stuff. That's something a little bit more adventurous and a little bit more out there. It's like a commentary on the Night's Watch at in Game of Thrones and so
Yeah,
on. But it's like more now from a perception of witches or the witches. I don't know how directly Warren had it linked with the actual series, but it's a bit more of a adventurous take, and it's instrumental as well. So your mind can really go wild with what you're feeling from it. It's quite dark and ambient and
that's
exciting. But I think generally to answer your question in a simpler form instead of the overextended answer I just gave now, um, yeah, we I suppose we write what we see. Even looking at some of the lyrics that Johan's got written for the follow up for Faded Visions, which is going to come in Faded Visions too and stuff. It's always a big commentary on what we see, what we go through in the world. I mean, we all stuck on a cell phone nowadays, stuck on a screen.
True.
Uh, Social media has brought us so much closer, but also so much more distant in so many ways. Um,
True.
so yeah, I think we write what we see. That's pretty much what it is. We write what we see. We write what we see and feel and what we experience. And you know, being metal, obviously you write very honestly about stuff and so on. And unfortunately, this world doesn't have a lack of material of nasty things to write about. So
True.
um,
That is very true.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So
sorry. I just went outside for a moment, but
no problem.
I smoked a cigarette.
Yeah,
So yeah,
yeah.
I'm smoking cigarettes, and with the work I'm doing currently, sorry, with the work I'm doing currently, I'm in a cleaning business, and
Okay.
I have many, how do you say that? I see many clients a day, and it's a very stressful job. So yeah, I have to smoke
Absolutely.
my cigarette.
No, I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that, man. Yeah.
So another question I wanted to ask was, are
Yes.
you going to festivals and shows just for fun? So while not playing there yourself, do you go to festivals too?
Okay. So, in terms of festivals, to be perfectly honest, the last number of festivals I've been to, I think every single one I've played at, whether it be for my solo stuff, or I don't know if you could say Truth Decay's played at a festival yet. We played with a lot of bands at different events, and we had the headline tour. Um, but yeah, we do actually have a festival coming up, ironically, in May.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, so the last couple of festivals I've been to, I've performed at all of them. But I do enjoy going to festivals. My wife and I both enjoy it.
Yeah.
We used to do it a lot when I wasn't in Truth Decade as well. I do still enjoy going to shows. If there's a show going on and I've got the time and I'm not performing a lot in my solo or band capacity, I love to go out and watch music.
Yeah.
That's something I love to do. But also, even if I am performing at shows or stuff, I watch other bands. And not that I'm against it or not, but you get those bands that don't necessarily watch other people, or they just got hectic schedules or whatever. But if I can, I will try watch everyone at least on the same stage or on the same, excuse me, on the same lineup on the nights or something. I'd always try my best to do that. Um, yeah, we enjoy live music. We enjoy live original music, especially as well. I love seeing artists that bring out original, interesting music that
Yeah.
they created and that came from their minds. And
Yeah.
if I am watching covers, if for some reason I see covers, yet again, not that I have anything against them, but I'll prefer an interesting take on it, something that's really going to blow my mind.
True.
But yeah,
True.
yeah. But love music, love it. Festivals are great. Um, anything that pushes art, really, art in general. I think it's good for people, and it's just a nice escape from all the stresses and everything of the world, as you mentioned earlier. So yeah.
Yeah. I have one question that is very personal too. So you don't
Okay.
need to answer it if you don't want to. But
Okay.
making music, is that your main profession, or do you do it with
Okay.
other?
So at this point, it's actually a very good question because it's quite relevant to where I'm at. I do have a day job at present um,
Uh-huh.
as a locksmith. Uh,
Okay.
like yeah, like working my hands. Uh, but I am making money from music, particularly with my solo music.
Mhm.
It is a form of income. Um, I also do guitar lessons and things like that. The things that have come through the any success or whatever the music. I have got other avenues of income with that. I've done a guitar clinic as well. I'd actually like to do some more of those. That was really cool. Um, and it is a goal for me personally, at least. I'm hoping sometime in the near future to be able to do music full time. Maybe have a small little locksmith business of my own, just for some regular cash to come in. So that is a goal for me. Um, and Truth Decayed as well, we'll keep pushing it as much as we can. Our first goal now is to get the band self-sufficient. If we can financially get the band to a place where the merch and the trips and everything support themselves, and we don't have to fork money into it. And we're getting to that point. Merch sales have been very good, particularly internationally with the EP, and now with the solo stuff. We're still getting international orders, but the local orders have picked up. So that is a big goal for us as well. Is get the band self-sufficient, and then we'll see where we can go from there.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it's a good question. I'm more than happy to answer because it is a genuine goal for me, and one
I,
that is happening. It's
I
it's it's
just
in the process.
I just came up with that question actually because
Yeah,
yeah, as I said before, I'm still in the cleaning business, and my blog is more of a hobby for me
yeah,
at the
yeah.
moment. I hope to make it a full profession one day, but it's not coming. It's not coming from day one. So
Anything important takes time, eh? Um,
indeed,
so yeah,
indeed,
so I'll definitely be rooting for you, and I hope it happens because I think when creatives can do it as work, it's wonderful. So I wish you all the best for that as well. Yeah.
and another question I had. I don't know if you have done it already, but would you play shows or have you played shows in other countries already?
Not as yet, or not as Truth Decayed, although to be honest, yeah, I haven't been out of South Africa. As a solo artist, I've performed all over the country, and Truth Decayed has played in two different provinces at present. I know this year I really want to hit some other provinces like the Western Cape, which is Cape Town, like you mentioned. Um, I know there's potential opportunities for the Free State, which is another province here. South Africa, it's pretty big country. We just have a lack of venues in some ways. But that being said, places like Gauteng, or at least from my perspective, from Durban, seem to be thriving in many ways. It's picking up.
Yeah,
Things are looking good.
yeah,
I know in PE, Port Elizabeth, yeah, in South Africa, there's a bit of a scene going on there, and two amazing bands that have come out of there lately, being Gast and Boiling Point. So definitely gonna try to connect with them. For me personally, though, I think the first stop I'd like to go to is Botswana with Truth Decayed. Um, they are a neighboring country, and they've got a very vibrant and passionate metal scene. I won't say necessarily a huge one because it's metal in Africa, just like South Africa. They have their struggles, but their supporters are amazing, and they really they are a passionate bunch of metal supporters, and the bands that have come out of there are amazing. You've got bands like Overthrust and Rust and bands like that have actually done some remarkable things.
yeah,
And they're just really good and talented at what they do. And I know I've said it over and over, but so passionate. I can't explain it. It's like they really love metal. They live it. If you see the way they dress and their events and stuff, they are so into it. So Botswana is definitely on my list. And I don't know when, if it will be this year or whatever, but I definitely really want to do that. As I mentioned earlier, we're very keen to go to Greece because we've received a lot of love there and a lot of support, and definitely like to go pay it back in person. Also, just experience the country, something very different from South Africa. And pretty much we'll play anywhere else that will accept us and where we can get visas for, and that will work and
yeah.
cost permittent. Um, as you said, you enjoyed traveling the world earlier, and that's very much where we're at. Oh, another country that'd be interesting is India. I know Warren will go to India in a heartbeat again.
Yeah.
And our exchange rate's not too bad there, so that's another option. Yeah, anywhere that will take us really. Eh?
And India, where in India do you have your interest? Because as I said before, Parkway Drive, they have
Yeah.
played a show in Kolkata in
Okay.
India.
I suppose Kolkata would be one of the areas. I don't know India that well. Warren would be actually be better to answer that question. But yeah,
Well,
as I say, he's traveled there and he's actually performed there, not with metal, just with other music that he was involved in. Um, so yeah, that's. I know we've got a a band, yeah, instrumental band. I'm going to call them post rock because they are very post rock in nature, but they're quite heavy as well. A band called Oh God. I know they've performed in India, and from what I saw from a footage from there, it seemed like a pretty good turnout and
Yeah,
very hungry, happy crowd. But they're an amazing band as well. So yeah, definitely I can see why they would have loved the music. Yeah, so India is a good one. And I did mention earlier as well, South American countries have generally accepted us quite a bit and been very friendly, and especially with international festivals and comments and just direct messages and even supporting our music and buying merch. They've also been fantastic. So,
it has
you know,
been.
if we, yeah, if we can get big enough in any country that could justify or fund a tour, we'd definitely go for it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, indeed. If I can get honest with you, as I heard before,
Mm.
the South Americans,
Yeah.
like Brazilians, Puerto Ricans, they must be a very passionate people in terms
Yeah.
of their music they love. I heard it also from other bands who have played there that the shows they did became heavier than they played in their hometowns or something like that. So
Yeah.
I think for you as your band with metal, I think that in South America there is a scene for you that that really can drive you forward, I guess. Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I think so as well. And I really do appreciate you saying so. Yeah, I mean, today we got another good review again from our Argentinian channel, which was amazing. And particularly the online festivals. There's the first one I think we did was a Colombian one with issue BGB. Um, Such wonderful, hospitable people as well, and just so friendly. And it just steamrolled from there into Brazilian channels and all that as well. And yeah, I think so. I think the style works there as well. For some reason, they seem to like what we're doing, and I couldn't be happier with that, you know.
True.
And definitely one area where you're correct. They are a passionate crowd. Like my goodness, if they love metal, they really love it. Like they live it yet
Yeah.
again. Very much like the Botswanan uh, neighbors we have here
Yeah.
there as well. They live metal. It's like it's in their blood. It's
True.
crazy. Yeah.
It's crazy indeed because I'm from Europe and I by the way, if you ever want to come to Belgium, always welcome. We have a scene
Oh,
back in Belgium too, so always
oh,
welcome in
absolutely.
Belgium.
Yeah.
But in Europe, they say it a lot, and I think it's a bit true because, as I said before, the South Americans they are very passionate in what they're doing. We are more in silence. We do
Yeah.
it. We do what we love to do, but we do it more more accurate, more straight to the point.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
say, and I think that we have much to learn from other religions in terms of opening up to other people, and I think that can help us forward too. But
Absolutely. Yeah.
the world is big, and
Yeah.
yeah,
I I think to elaborate on what you're saying there as well, it's like that's why it's so important to experience different countries, different cultures, different races, different people, because you know, like you mentioned, Foko Politica earlier,
yeah,
they are Afrikaans band.
yeah,
Afrikaans people in South Africa generally are very conservative. So when
yeah,
they came out, that really shocked a lot of people. It was like, what is this? Especially within the Afrikaans community, like they were really shocked. Like, what is this? And it produced beautiful music and something that
good,
Afrikaans young people never experience. You know, at least not to such a level. Um, and I think it goes beyond religion even because South American people they're not just passionate about metal; they're passionate about everything. You
that's
know,
true. That's
they
true.
love laugh. They love and they celebrate laugh. And our Botswana neighbors and a lot of African cultures, even within South Africa, yeah, and the rest of Africa, they also really enjoy celebrating and loving life, and anything that they partake in, they really do very vibrantly and very loudly. Whereas a lot of European-based cultures and stuff like that, yeah, it is quite conservative yet again, and we can all learn from each other like that. And
That's true.
even though metal probably is more from European roots, if I'm correct in saying so, if we think about bands from back in the day, Sabbath and so on, um, it's nice that they've taken it to a level like that, and that in the 80s and the 90s we could experience something like Sepultura, and even to other levels now. Um,
It's true.
yeah, yeah,
It's
it's
true.
it's it's nice. Learning from different people can definitely just if you even look at what it's just done to the sound of music, like Sepultura, Brazilian influences coming in more and more. And whether you like Roots as an album or not, you can't deny that the song Roots it's a staple in metal. And if that song plays, you're going to headbang and you're going to go nuts. And that's
That's,
definitely something that their Brazilian culture has brought into the world of metal, as so many other bands have as well.
yeah,
So
that's
yeah,
true.
yeah,
That's true. I learned from the games that I play because I'm also a gamer. And for example, I don't know if you know the game Tony Hawk,
yes, yes, yes.
Tony Hawk's
Love
Pro
a
Skater.
game.
There's many music in there that formed our generation back here in Belgium because
Yeah,
we grew up with it, and the music used into those games were actually the things that brought me into the heavier genres too. So I'm thankful and grateful for that. But
yeah,
um,
absolutely.
to see that, for example, Bob Burnquist, he's a pro
Mm.
skater and he's a Brazilian
An
and
amazing skater as well. Yeah, so he's
skating.
always
But if you see him skateboard, you think he's just an American, but he's a
yeah,
Brazilian. You
yeah,
don't
exactly.
say that on just seeing him. You have to know that
Yeah.
he's from Brazil
Mm.
because you don't see it on his outcome, and that makes people also very unique in what they do. So yeah,
Absolutely, yeah. South Africa also used to be like that back in the day a lot. Like if anything was good or big or popular, it's got to be American. But meanwhile, quite often it was Canadian or something like that.
yeah,
It happens. Or South American even. They
yeah,
might be living in America or competing a lot there, but they
that's
ain't Americans. Yeah.
that's true. That's
Uh,
true. Yeah, it's just as we said before, the world is a unique place, and what we have,
Absolutely.
we need to embrace what we have and make sure to take care of it because yeah,
Yeah.
it's a fragile thing, and we need to be careful with it.
I completely agree with you. We are fragile being, human beings. We're a fragile species in many ways. As
Yeah,
powerful and as creative and as domineering as we can be, we are very fragile as well,
true,
which I
true.
think causes a lot of the conflicts and insecurities that we face every day.
Yeah, indeed. So, what's your opinion about other music genres, others than the music you play?
I love different music genres. I mean, with my solo stuff alone, I've done everything from full on like trippy, spacey, psychedelic ambient music. I
Okay.
perform alone often with like full on fingerstyle acoustic playing. If you think along the lines of someone like John Gom or Andy McKee, where you do the percussion on the guitar and everything like that. Um, I even enjoy some dance music. particularly ambient dance music. I like stuff that's very dreamy and all that. So like I'm not too much into the whole unta thing, like the full on dance stuff, but I can still appreciate it. Um, yeah, I mean, I know the younger me, younger version of myself would probably slap me and say, "What you're doing listening to this music? You should be all metal." Um, but you grow up and you mature and you realize there's just so much good stuff out there. And if it wasn't for other genres, metal wouldn't have grown in amazing ways. I mean, imagine if there wasn't different genres, a band like Ginger wouldn't exist.
True.
And I mean, talk about an amazing, modern metal band. So I love different genres of music, and I think they're all important. If you even look back at music theory, you had Western music, and it worked on the 7/8 scale, and then people started playing the pentatonic scale. It's like, no, you can't play that. And then, people started introducing the blues notes into the blues scale. It's like, no, you can't do that. It's musically incorrect. Imagine music if there wasn't blues.
Voila.
You
Indeed.
know, Uh, you
Indeed.
know, what would have happened, and what happens if African and South American beats weren't introduced into music as well? You wouldn't have the stuff that's Sepultura and all those bands have brought. You probably wouldn't even have double bass and metal because
Indeed.
it's such an aggressive and fiery form of drumming. So like different genres are important. It gets you to think out of your scope, think out of your box, and to challenge yourself as a musician, whether it's for technique or just ideas.
Yeah.
Um, Good ideas don't come from the same thoughts over and over. It comes from challenging your mind and
True.
taking on different things. Yeah,
True.
yeah. So I'm fully supportive of it. I love a lot of different genres.
Yeah,
Um,
me too.
I'd more maybe not be so fond of an act versus a genre. So like if I like a certain band or a certain sound or whatever, I'll appreciate it more as opposed to the genre. The genre is just what it is. It's more, is the band good? Is the band interesting? Do they excite me or make me feel something? If that's the case, then I'm fully behind it. Yeah,
True.
yeah,
True. I'm also supporting that thought because, as you say, one genre can't exist without the other because of the
absolutely. Yeah,
things that influence the other ones into bringing it into the other genres. So yeah, I
yeah,
understand and fully support that thought. Yeah,
yeah.
indeed. So I was thinking about something. Um, yeah, you have contacted me through mail, as I was thinking. Yeah, um, that was you that contacted me. Yes.
No, it would have probably been David Oosthuizen from Diva Graphic.
Ah, yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah. Just
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So he is an amazing guy. He is my and Truth Decade's manager,
Hmm.
uh, and he is our PR guy. He does our PR. He finds the wonderful people like you that we get to talk with, um, and he does all the horrible stuff that we really don't want to do, like sending out mailers, getting the music out
This
for
sounds
press
fun.
releases and publications and all that. I don't think he sleeps. I don't think he's human either. I've never seen a person work that hard or that effectively or fast before. Um, a lot of us that do deal with him, we're all convinced he's not human. But
Yeah,
yeah, so that would have been the guy that contacted you, and
yeah,
I'm very grateful for it because I've met some incredibly amazing and interesting people from around the world through him. So
yeah,
on platforms like this and through discussions like this. So yeah,
indeed.
so yeah, that would be David Westhaven from
Yeah,
Diva
because
Graphic.
I was wondering, we're having this interview right now, and
Yeah,
as you said, it wouldn't have been possible without the phone. But
yeah,
it's interesting for me because, as I said, I'm only working on my blog for 2 years and a bit right now,
yeah,
and so many people from PR and marketing agencies
mm,
are contacting me without me contacting them first. And
Yeah.
that's what surprises me many times. Yeah,
If they're contacting you first, then they are good because that's what they're there for. That's why they exist. If you
true.
have to contact them, in my opinion, then they're probably not very good at what they're doing because that is the basis of a business. They need to see when people like you are out there, and you know that it just shows how good and on top of everything they are, and it makes life a lot easier for the band because having to focus on your music and your performance and all that, and having to deal with that is very difficult as well.
Yeah,
And I can't speak for all the guys, but at least for what David Westhuizen has done for me from Diva Graphic, he always finds guys that produce top notch interviews, good engaging questions, and so on. And um, those are the ones I really love. When you actually connect with the people. So and so far with 90% of them, the friendships form, the relationships stay. We stay in contact, and
yeah.
that's the way I
I,
like it because if
I
you're not
have
going to make friends in this world, what's the point? Yeah.
Yeah, indeed. I said to Devon also that I loved your album, first of all.
Thank you.
And I say it to you again, and I said it to Devon too earlier, that he can always, and you also can always contact me whenever you have something new, or it's just a single or a new
Yeah.
video clip. No problem for that. I'll post it on my blog, and I
Thank
try
you. I appreciate that.
no problem. I try to
Yeah.
do that on a weekly pace. I started with my blog, and I said to myself that every day I'm gonna post something, but
Mm.
I get so many PR and marketing agencies mailing me an entire post
Yeah.
about a new album, about a new
Yeah.
video clip, about something like that. And I'll try to do as many as I can, but I can't do them all because
Yeah.
I easily get 30 to 40 a day.
Yeah.
So,
It's
but
insane. It's yeah.
but
No,
this
but
one
it's
came by through Devon, and he contacted me with your album, and I liked it, and that's why I said to Devon, yeah, no problem, and I'd like to do the interview too. So yeah,
well, that makes this even more special. Yeah. Thank you. It's lovely hearing feedback like that.
no
And
problem. Oh,
one thing I can tell you, if and when you get future mail from him, the acts that he represents, they are good, they're solid.
very good.
He's very good at what he does, and yeah, yeah. If you're getting a band from him, they're going to be solid. Let's put it that way. So
No
yeah.
problem. So, do you have something new coming up in the uh, near future? A new single, a
Um,
new video, or
okay, so Faded Visions one is coming in April, as we know. Um,
I wrote a review about it.
you were able, yeah, you were able to hear a pre-version of it, so
Yeah.
that's cool. But that is the completed product, so that will be out on April 8th, officially. We are hoping to have Fader Visions Part 2 out by this year as well. That is the plan. So unless there's
Okay.
huge COVID troubles or anything like that that's going to throw the
Yeah.
world on its head, Fader Visions 2 should be out. And that will also still be produced by Chris Sinopoulos from Volvadinia, which we are very excited about because he did a great job on part one. Um, don't know the other things that I should or should not talk about, but there is things, I'll say this, there's things along the lines of videos and stuff in the making. But main focus for now will be Faded Visions 1, hopefully perform and support and tour that as much as possible where we can. Faded Visions 2 later in the year, and there will be things in between as well in the form of videos and stuff like that. And we're always releasing a lot of press related stuff and so on. Our social media is very active. We like to do some humorous stuff as well every now and then, normally at Warren's expense.
Yeah.
um, yeah, but he likes it, so it's cool. Um, So yeah, Fader Visions 1 or 2. That's our biggest focus. As far as my solo stuff goes, I do have a lot of stuff in the lines there. But unfortunately, my solo stuff is like a nightmare for me. It's very different for me to write for that than what it is for Truth Decayed. Firstly, because I have support in Truth Decayed with Warren writes a lot of the music. Johan comes up with a lot of good ideas as well. Now even Dan being in the band, so there's an aid of that. But for some reason, my mind can focus very clearly on what I want for Truth Decayed. And when it comes to my solo stuff, it just becomes a nightmare of trying to get something that's cohesive and it works well and functions properly. So it's much more of a struggle. I like the end result usually, and I'm very happy with what I put out, but it's
Yeah.
quite an arduous and painful experience developing it. So,
Right.
yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
Nice. I look forward to it, to listen to it,
Thank you.
and write
Yeah, excellent, man.
another review about it too.
Thank you. Very different from Truth Decay, though. So,
Yeah, no
yeah,
problem.
excellent.
I'm open to many genres. There are some genres that I don't that I have listened to and said no, that's not for me. But in terms of metal and rock, uh, the heavier genres are mostly the genres that I love to
That
listen
you
to.
enjoy, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's excellent, man. Yeah, nice.
So I have one more question, and
Yes.
then I'm at the end of my list.
Okay.
Um, what useful information can you give to starting bands?
I get this question a lot. I do, but it's a question, but it is a question I like. Um, I think the best advice I can give, and it's usually along the lines of the advice I do give, is set realistic goals. And by that, I don't mean don't try and make a career of it. I'm literally doing that myself now, so it would be very hypocritical to say don't try and make a career of it. But what I mean by realistic goals, if you're trying to be Metallica, the chances are you're going to be disappointed. Not only because groups like that come through a powerful movement that happened at the time that you can't predict, and that it happened through social and social circumstances that you can't predict, and also a very different time of music when if a label pushed a band, that was a big band, that was your band.
Yeah.
The roles of labels have changed over time as well now. So what I'm trying to say is if you're trying to be a mega band or super band, firstly there's no prediction for that. A lot of it has to do with luck, who finds you, circumstance. You can't prepare for that. You can't um, aim or work towards that. It's impossible. It either happens or it doesn't. And I think that's why a lot of those artists that get to that stage end up going through horrible drug problems or anything like that, mental health issues and stuff, because you can't even prepare yourself for it physically or mentally. It's something that's so out of this world.
Yeah.
So what I'd rather say, if that break's going to happen for you, it's either going to happen or it's not. What I would say is set realistic goals. The nice thing about the music industry now and the access we have to people like you and
Mhm.
the fact that the world can communicate with each other and that you can record a beautiful album in your house just with a laptop, if you've got the skill set or the mind to do so. But the opportunity is there. Or you could even get producers at better rates because you don't have to go into a big expensive studio. So what I'm trying to say is make smart choices and figure out a business plan or a mission statement, whatever that works for you.
Mhm.
So like my goal, for example, I want to make money from music. I got my solo stuff, which is a bit more accessible commercially. Uh, but by that, I'm not going to be on commercial radio. It's just I can play more venues.
Yeah.
Then there's the metal stuff where we've got already quite a hardcore fan base that really love and connect with our music. So it's another avenue. And those are people that buy merch and support the music. Um, and also another thing I will say in terms of that, when people are buying your merch and supporting your music and dropping comments, as much as possible, reply to those comments. Thank them individually for the merch they've bought. They don't need to do that. They don't need to invest that time or money in you.
Indeed.
So if you can't just drop a thank you or something back,
True.
you know, build those relationships. Obviously, it might get to a point when you have like 500,000 followers or 100,000 followers, then it's very difficult to individually thank everyone. But just make sure you always let people know that they are valued, they are valuing you and your music. But anyway, back onto the main point that I was making is just set realistic goals. That's what I'm trying to say. Because another avenue that I'm trying to make money from is from guitar lessons and things like that. Maybe set up a Patreon page. Maybe you've got something interesting to say to people. Maybe in terms of lyrics. Also, be prepared to help people with advice. I mean, I mentioned them earlier before. Volvadinia, probably the biggest metal band to come out of South Africa easily. They've had some wonderful breaks. They've had incredible international success. And I can say firsthand through working with Chris from Volvadinia, Chris Anopoulos, who's mixed and mastered Faded Visions 1 and going to do part 2. And even from what I've heard from the rest of the band, like Duncan the singer and so on, they are always willing to help bands, whether it be through advice or through good rates with, the mixing and mastering and stuff. They've never like gotten this ego of that they're not prepared to help.
No,
Um, so yeah, reach out for help, look for help, and be prepared to give help as well. Work as a community. So I've segued a little bit on the answer of a question there, but I think really what I'm saying is just set realistic goals. There's no reason why you can't do music as a living, but
no.
there's a big difference between planning on being a millionaire and doing
Yeah.
music as a living. And also understand that if you are going to do music as a living, it's not going to be easy. It's going to be long hours. It's going to be a lot of work. It's
Yeah.
going to be a lot of time. But if you love what you're doing, it really shouldn't be a problem, as opposed to sitting at a job for 9 hours that you hate. So,
Indeed. That's
yeah,
true.
yeah. Be prepared to work hard, network, communicate, and most importantly, the people out there buying your merch, supporting your music, and loving your music, those are the most important people in your career. And if you can't value them, why should they value you? So try as much as you can have a direct connection with them in as many ways as possible. Not necessarily with DMs and stuff like that, but just make sure they know that they appreciate it and valued. Yeah,
They appreciated you, so there's no shame in
exactly.
appreciating them back. Eh?
Exactly. You're not proving anything by not acknowledging them or trying to
No,
be this band that's larger than life. You're nothing without them. Yeah.
no, indeed, indeed. That's a good one to end
Thank you.
the conversation. That's a very good a deep. It comes in deep. Yeah,
Oh, thank you.
no problem.
Yeah.
No problem.
It's a question I love because it's something I'm quite passionate about. So yeah, thank you for
True.
that.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
can hear that too. So I think many younger bands should listen to this interview just for that reason, so that they know what's coming to them and what they have to do to get that coming.
Yeah.
So I think there's many young talent. It
No,
just needs to be explored.
absolutely. Yeah. Definitely. There are so many talented bands and artists out there. It's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
indeed,
Yeah.
indeed. Very good. I'm very happy for having this conversation with you, and
Likewise, my friend. Yeah.
I'm gonna post the interview on my blog. Not this evening. That's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
um, in the upcoming days, it will be online, and I'll
Okay.
send you a link along with the Devon. Um,
Yeah.
online.
Everything you can send to him, he'll get it out to me,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
we'll make it happen. Yeah.
I'm
And
gonna post this entire video onto the blog, if you don't mind,
awesome.
and
Yeah.
then I'll
Perfect.
write something short about it. I had an amazing interview with this band, and then a little bit of introduction to you, something like that, and
Awesome.
I'll post it on my blog. when it's online, when it's up and running, you'll get a link to it too.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's been lovely chatting to you, and I'm honored to have met you. And please definitely do stay in contact.
I
Yeah,
will.
I've kept in contact with so many people, and it's nice when that happens because, especially the interviews that really mean a little bit more. Like this was a good one, and yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed your company, man. Yeah,
Even though we are many kilometers away from each other, it's still there is a connection, and I feel it too. Yeah, indeed,
absolutely, absolutely, man. Yeah,
indeed. Very good. I'll thank you for your time, and
thank you.
I wish you all the luck with your music.
Thank you.
And
I appreciate that.
when the second part is up and running, I'll look forward to it, and I'll write another review about it.
Thank you. Thank you so much, my friend. Yeah, that's excellent.
No
Cool.
problem. Then I'll see you maybe next time when we do another interview in a couple of months slash years.
Awesome.
Whenever you
Cool,
want,
man.
you can always
Yeah,
ask. And when you have something new up and running, something big, you can
yeah,
always contact me, and we can arrange another meeting here.
definitely. And yeah, feel free to message anytime, even if it's just to say hi or talk about Afrikaans and Flemish.
True.
Yeah,
Indeed. There is one sentence I was thinking about earlier in
yes.
South African, and I
Okay,
wanted to say to you, and I wanted to see if you can understand it. It comes from
okay,
a song from Fuck Off Politicar,
okay.
and the sentence is going like, um, kan jij mij schroeven voor mij vastdraaien?
Yeah. Okay, so that is Afrikaans, and yeah, so it's a direct translation would be "Can you fasten my screws for me?" But obviously, it's metaphorical. Uh, Great song that, by the way, as well. That's Yemo on the Platteland, I think.
Yes, helemaal op die
Yeah,
platteland. Indeed.
yeah,
Kan jij mij
yeah.
schroeven voor
Great,
mij vastdraaien?
yeah,
Geweldig.
great line, great song. Yeah, it's excellent that there's such a strong language connection as well.
True. Indeed. Indeed. Very well. Thank you very much for your time, and see you next interview. Oei.
Sorry, I don't know what happened there.
No, I was also even you're
I
you're
might
in
have had a signal drop.
yeah,
Yeah,
you're
oh
in the
man.
park right now.
Yeah, yeah, I see that. Or at least we concluded it. Yeah.
No
Okay.
problem.
Awesome.
Very well. I'll see you next time.
Definitely. Thank you, my friend, and thank you for a wonderful interview as well.
No problem.
Cool. All right.
Stay
Cheers.
safe and take care.
You too, my friend. Cheers. Eh?
Bye.
Okay. Bye.